Welcome back, gents, and ladies too. I did check my demographics the other day, and there are just a handful of you that also follow my channel, so I should probably mention that at least once. Anyway, this is going to be a quick video about my experiences with a 16-inch proof research barrel chambered in 6mm arc. I've done a number of tests with it. From neck tension and diameter and how these affect accuracy, to my usual primer and seating depth tests, and of course, load development. What I'm going to display in this video is going to be a distilled version of the great journey I've been on with this barrel, and I'm going to try to have the layout be logical. Part 1 will be a quick inspection with a bore camera for the build quality of the barrel itself. Part 2 will be the major testing points I did. That includes some comparison with another barrel. Part 3 will be my ending thoughts, where I discuss future plans and my experiences with other brands and manufacturers of 6mm arc barrels. It's been an interesting journey, and I hope that you all enjoy it too. First look at the proof research barrel that I just got in the mail. It's basically immaculately made. Sorry for the bouncy camera. We're going to go in and we're going to look at the neck area, going into the leads, which seem to be very short. I'm not even sure if I saw a free bore, but 4 grooves, which are cut rifled and then hand lapped. All the darkness that you see there is from the leftover lead from when they lapped the barrel. They do clean it out with acetone, but that doesn't get everything. Everything looks straight, perfect, uniform. We're coming up on the gas port. And that looks, again, immaculate. The crown, I can already tell you, that's great as well. So the quality of the barrel itself is great. We did have one other problem though. Allow me to show you the feed ramp, which thankfully looked a lot worse than what it was. But still, it was interesting to see on a barrel that cost so much. I'm trying to beat daylight. This is going to be the last part of the series that I film, but I'm going to put it up front because I think it probably is going to have the most valid information. So this is my 6-arc build with this Shaw custom barrel. It's 18-inch. This is Hornady Match. This is off-the-shelf ammo. And over here, we have my proof research barrel. That's 16 inches. So the setups are more or less the same. Let's go check targets though, because I just finished firing 5 shots of each. Okay, so here we go. This on the left is the proof research. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the Shaw custom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could basically call this the same. Ignore the point of impacts. These are not centered. I think what I might do is adjust them and fire 2 more 3-shot groups. I'm trying to save some ammo to do over a chronograph, but it's getting dark. I might not have the sunlight to do it, but we're going to try. Anyway, so yeah, enough babbling. Let's just get to it. After 2 shots failed to register on the chronograph, I made the snap decision to go ahead and try the fire for more groups. So on the left again is the proof research barrel, and you can see the point of impact barely changed at all, along with the group size. On the right we have the Shaw, and I felt like they were good shots, but I don't know how to explain this. I could say, maybe the conditions affected me, because the picture is noticeably darker, and I did just mention that things are starting to get dark. Could that be it? Sure, maybe. I think I have enough leeway to use that as an explanation, I dare say an excuse. But it could be it. On the flip side, we could say, look, this is evidence of why we invest into these more expensive barrels, because they do shoot aggregates better, or they tend to be more, I don't want to say more precise, but more consistent in what they shoot. Is that what we see here? It could be, but I'm not sure. I'm going to leave it open to interpretation. Just keep in mind the conditions that these were shot in, and I'll let you guys use your own judgment. Welcome back, gents. Here we are. This is going to be my 6-arc comparison video. And what are we comparing? We have my original build down here. This is just the upper. So this is a Shaw custom barrel, 18-inch, pretty standard and generic as far as 6mm arc barrels go. Or builds go, rather, I should say. Up here, in my McGowen Precision Enhanced upper, we have my Proof Research barrel. And you'll notice it's only a 16-inch barrel compared to the 18-inch of the other one. I also removed the muzzle brake from my old build because I want this to be as much as apples to apples as I can make it. The biggest thing that's going to be a difference, other than the barrel length, is going to be the scope. These are both Bushnell scopes, but this is a Match Pro, which goes up to 24 power. This is an old, and I can't get it wrong this time, a Nitro, there we go. And it goes up to 20 power, so I'll be using them at the same power. Not only is this one second focal plane, but also the crosshairs are a lot thicker. However, we're only shooting at 100 yards, and I find it doesn't adversely affect my accuracy. So quick summary, basically we're going to be firing a barrel that's worth $550 against a barrel that I bought, I believe, for just above $200. Let's go over our load data. We have 100 rounds here. So these are Hornady 105 grains, and we're going to be propelling them with Reloder 15.5. So these are Lapua Scenar-Ls, 90 grain, and we're going to be using Staball Match. 100 shots. Let's get to it. Okay, gents, this is with the 105 Hornady bullet with Reloder 15.5. There's one barrel. There's the other barrel. Going from lowest to highest. Lowest to highest. Which one do you think shot better? Okay, so with that said, I'll tell you which one's which. This is the Proof Research. This is the Shaw Custom. I'm afraid to say anything because I know first glances can be deceiving. I do feel confident in calling this the worst group we got. And I do feel confident in calling this the best group we got. So I'm going to take a picture with Range Buddy. Maybe we'll do an at the desk kind of interpretation. That might be best. So on the right side of my notes, I have the 90 grain Lapua Scenar-Ls with Starline Brass and Staball Match Powder. Let's go over the results. Doing something similar where on top I have one barrel going from lowest to highest. On bottom I have the results for another barrel going from lowest to highest. Can you guess which barrel's which? Well, I decided to stay consistent. On the top is the Proof Research. On the bottom is the Shaw Custom. There's a lot to read into here. Like, there's definitely a point of impact difference, right? But it's hard for me, since they're so drastically different. I'm going to chalk that up to the fact that this is 16, that's an 18-inch. But with this one, you can see, as we go up in charge, things are generally going up and also a little bit to the left. Like, that's pretty extreme. This one seems to be holding more or less steady for the center of the point of impact. This one is a little bit more. That one maybe a little bit more. This one actually might be going down. Interesting. But look here. And this is how we know I have two honest barrels. So see the verticality there with a slightly smaller group, and then verticality and the group opens up. Not just, this one's very vertical, this one's opening up towards some horizontalness. But look here. Verticality, things tighten up, then things are starting to break up again. So that is why I like doing barrel comparisons. Beyond the fact that apparently this barrel that's button pulled and not lapped outshot a barrel that is cut rifled, hand lapped, and cost twice as much. Oh, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to take a picture. We're going to look at things in Range Buddy, and we'll do kind of a more complete, more grounded analysis because I'm sure you guys can imagine what I'm feeling at the moment. Day 2 of testing my proof research barrel in 6-arc. Let's take a look at our load development notes. We're retesting, or rather we're doing further testing with Staball Match with our Lapua 90 grain Scenar-L bullets. We're testing around 27 grains and we're fine tuning it, so 2.2 grain increments. And then we're also going to be doing some pretty gross overall length tests with our bullet seating, starting at meg length, going down in 10,000ths increments until finally 2.220. Okay, gents, let's do a quick recap. For our 90 grain Lapua Scenar-L bullets, we used Staball Match and did pretty gross powder graduation measurements between 26 and 28 grains, bumping up in 0.5 grain increments. 27 seemed to be pretty stable, but also the best group. So we're doing a fine-tune test between 26.6 and 27.4, moving up in 0.2 grain increments. So this 27 grains is going to be a repeat. What I'm looking for is starting off with kind of a nasty group, it narrowing down somewhere in here, and then opening back up. Not necessarily to a worse group, but opening back up. If it does that, we know we're on to something. Then a second part of our testing, we're going to be doing 27 grains again, but we're going to be going down in seating depth by 10,000ths. So that's going to be kind of rough, but it's going to give us a good idea of how the gun is speaking to us, rather how the barrel is speaking to us. So that said, let's go over our results. And here is our powder grain test from lowest to highest. And it's almost exactly as I called it. We start off with something pretty gross. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it tightens up a lot. This is still decent. However, we have this really gross outlier here, which we did not see last time. Otherwise, we do see the verticality that we noted last time we went out. But this is a pretty gross outlier. I felt like it was a really good shot, considering that we do have some verticality and some outliers up there. I'm okay with calling this harmonically induced, even though, yeah. But when we go to D, things do tighten up overall, but we have some horizontalness. And then lastly, the group is continuing to open up. And this looks like a fairly honest group. So again, exactly as I said. That said, we have to do some overall length testing. Let's take a look at that. This is the longest going shortest. So this is a repeat of this group there. And you can see it's printing pretty much in the same place. Although we don't have one lobe, we have one that goes off to the side. But honestly, this, we already see here, we're getting some flyers, some outliers there. So that is actually just something we're going to have to pay attention to. Because again, look at this. We bumped down 10,000ths. We have a nice tight core group here. Looks to be almost like a ½ inch center to center. But then we have this outlier there. That sucks. Because that opens up to a little bit over an inch. Right here, things kind of open up. And it looks like the point of impact is shifting quite a bit. Noticeably so. But then, when we go 10,000ths again, it returns to form, but we have an outlier there. So far, this is kind of telling me we have a very, very honest barrel, a very precise barrel. Maybe not the most accurate, but very precise. And then here, things look to be opening up again. But, look at the pattern. Open, getting closed, starting to open up again, getting closed. The mean radius, like look at the core groups on these. These are really tight. We just have this outlier. So then we have basically open, closed, open, open again. So we have almost a perfect sine wave with our overall length testing that we did. I had to check myself there for a moment because I almost went off the deep end talking about theoreticals of how we could fix our load and where we need to go from here. But I'm out of bullets. And honestly, I think even if I did have more bullets, I would have either switched powders or primers right at this point, because I think we've hit the point of diminishing returns trying to break that 3/4 MOA limit. And I say 3/4 MOA because with my other barrel, the Shaw barrel, we've already achieved that. And that's what's really frustrating, as I sunk this much more time and effort trying to surpass this other barrel that's half the cost, by the way, less than half the cost, and we still didn't hit that benchmark. I probably should be a lot more angrier than what I am, but I feel like I'm learning a lot. And it's actually really, really cool to see predictions come true, but also see like that sine wave happen, like, and especially when it happens so well. So I definitely know it's a good barrel. I just need to find out what it likes. Question is though, is it worth it? I'll think on that, and well, that's part of the reason why I make these videos. You guys decide as well. I want to start off the ending thoughts of this video by talking about quality. I need to emphasize this point. Of the 6 AR barrels I've ordered recently, this Proof Research barrel has been the only one that I've been able to take from the box that arrived on my doorstep and assemble it into an upper without any problems or additional work. I urge you to take a look at my other videos regarding a barrel from Wilson Combat and from McGowen Precision. The Wilson Combat barrel was half the cost of this Proof Research barrel, but has the nastiest scrap of metal I've ever seen hanging from the drilled out gas port. It could be argued that there was the potential that a fired bullet could have dragged that down the bore and damaged the bore, but that's speculation. Either way, I still had to go in there and manually remove that scrap of metal. Moving on to the McGowen Precision barrel, that barrel was improperly cut twice. I had it sent back, and when it was returned, the crown was better, but it still wasn't 100%. When you look at it, it does not look as good as all the other barrels I have received. I still did feel safe enough to actually go out and fire the barrel, but it was amongst some of the worst barrels I've had in terms of accuracy and precision. I want to be clear though, the bore was great. It's just the finishing aspects that required smithing that were poor. That said, that Shaw custom barrel that I also showcased in this video, when I originally ordered that barrel, I had received it with chatter marks in the bore. What I'm actually firing is the replacement barrel I received for that original barrel I ordered. So that's something that's pretty important to note. This brings me to one of the important points that I have learned in this video, and that I hope you will find useful as well. When you spend more money on a quality item, you're going to get that higher level of quality, but it will never be free from defects. This brings up our other learned lesson, which is contrary to this point. Just because you spend a lot of money on a product doesn't mean it's going to be a lot better at what it's supposed to do. Perhaps it's better worded as, when you spend that extra money, you're spending it on build quality, and the performance you're hoping for will never scale to cost. So what is the fate of this Proof Research barrel? What is in its future, especially now that I have 2 other 6mm arc barrels? Well, some of you may recall that I did a video in 556 where I did a quote-unquote run and gun build, or I guess some people call it CQB or CQC, but for me, I think that'd be a bad categorization. Either way, I have more of a background in a bench rest style of shooting, but have been branching out into other areas, and I have a range buddy that's been helping me get more into a sling style of shooting. Similarly, just as I have been adopting a sling style of shooting, he has been adopting something a little bit more precision orientated. So this barrel is now a part of what I guess you would call is a DMR build, or I don't want to say a more bench rest style build, because I feel like it is more appropriate to call more of a DMR style build in his case. Either way, that's where that barrel now is, and so it will no longer be a part of my channel. Well, that I plan at least. Who knows? Maybe it might show